Mike, turn your games down.
Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of games my mom found as we continue our one-year journey to explore the Star Trek films and venture into the unknown, where many podcasters have gone before. I am Mike Albertin, and who's exploring the great unknown with me tonight?
It's Peter Botany Bay, Bingham-Pankratz.
From hell's heart, I stab at thee. It's Kerry Carusetta.
Welcome, and we are continuing, as I said in the opening, our journey, where many podcasters have gone before, I'm positive, with Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, directed by Nicholas Meyer, screenplay, I don't think it's actually by Jack B. Soward. If I remember correctly, it's written by someone completely else who didn't take credit for it.
I think Nicholas Meyer rewrote it.
He rewrote a lot of it. He, according to the director commentary, he asked them, all right, give me just everything you've got, every deleted thing, everything and then he kind of put it together. Meanwhile, Gene Roddenberry tried to take credit for having written it.
Yet another example of them ignoring Gene Roddenberry and getting a gem instead.
Yeah, this was... Okay, so I'm realizing I have only seen parts of some of the movies, of the original 6 movies. I've seen 6 for sure as a young adult, and then the others I've seen maybe part of as a kid. So I feel like this is really my first time seeing this. I was blown away. Like I would say to me this might be the best Star Trek film. Definitely the best I don't know. I mean, I have a soft spot for First Contact. But this was so good. It was amazing. I was going into it expecting it to be good, and it was better than I expected.
Oh, nice.
There's a reason it has its reputation, I think.
Yeah, and it's like I was so culturally aware of it because of how much it's referenced, and I've seen clips from it, but I was watching it realizing, I think maybe this was on in the background once when I was a kid, and I paid attention to all of 15 minutes of it. I'm realizing I had only seen clips here and there and maybe a little bit as a kid, and that's it. So, yeah.
And this came out in 1982, distributed by Paramount Pictures.
That's before cool, I was born. I mean,
hey, I get you to watch another movie that you hadn't actually seen.
Yeah.
That always makes me happy on this show. Like, that's a little thing that just gets me excited when I'm able to get people to experience something that they never did for one reason or another.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the Games for Mom Found experience.
Yes. I always start this off with my memories. I had only seen this movie once before, and I remember not being super into it. I don't think I was as into, or I maybe not had finished my original Star Trek yet run, because that took me a while to really want to do. I started with Next Gen, where, as you should.
Sure.
And so this was, when I don't remember if I had already seen all of the first show or even the episode that this is referencing, but I remember not being super keen on this movie when I watched it like over a decade ago.
Sure.
And I have not seen it since until literally today I finished it. No, last night I stayed up and finished it. I had to finish. That's my history. Peter.
Yeah, I've seen it a couple times. I definitely saw it when I was a kid, and I don't remember when I first saw it. It was probably in the 90s when I've been into Star Trek my whole life basically. And I've saw it a couple times. I do remember the last time I saw it, I was at the theater in Milwaukee with William Shatner giving a talk afterwards. So they played the movie, and William Shatner spoke and answered questions afterward. And I was really glad I got to see him. I took my mom and my dad to do that. It was my treat, basically. And I'll always remember that. So I got to see it with William Shatner. Probably not watching the movie. He came out afterwards, but I'm sure he didn't. But he was there, and he gave a good talk. He was a spry man, and he's still alive at age 94. So, yeah.
Kind of impressive.
Yeah.
I think, Kerry, you kind of said what your history was, correct? Then.
Yeah. I think I like I said, vaguely recall seeing part of it as a kid, super culturally aware of it because of all the references. But yeah, this was my first time actually sitting down and watching the whole movie.
Surprisingly still works.
Yeah, it's so well crafted. It's such a good movie. Like there are little things that I can point out, and we will. But
yes,
yeah, overall, just very, very good.
Yeah, compared to Star Trek: The Motion Picture, which was like almost 3 hours or 2.5 hours.
Yeah,
it felt like 3 for the record.
I was surprised how short this is. Yeah,
this is less than 2 hours, but it moves really quickly. Like it gets to the point within like 10 minutes or so. It's like, this is what the movie's going to be about. We're not going to do lots of shots of the Enterprise. We do have some shots of the Enterprise in like space dock, but it's over with much quicker.
It's not at literally like 10 minutes of watch the frickin' ship show up.
Yeah, and I think that entire sequence is recycled from Motion Picture. I know parts of it are.
Yeah, it is, but they didn't spend all the time going around it.
Right. He talked about that. He was like when he watched, the director was like, when he watched the motion picture, he's like, I was just thinking to myself, like, all right, you need to dock and get to the ship. Why is this taking so long? And so yeah.
Nicholas Meyer famously did not really care about Star Trek. He was like a hired gun, basically.
He said he had never seen it. Right. He had never seen a second of Star Trek until he was hired to do this movie.
Which I think is a nice change from today, where you have these fan service things. They're all made by people who watched it, and they're definitely like trying too much to rekindle their childhoods. And Nicholas Meyer's just like, I don't care. I'm making it how I want it.
Yeah, it's weird because I think most fans would be like, no, we want someone who's a fan of it to do it. I think what's so good about it is, and it's what you're getting at, is he's not precious about it. He makes significant changes that have persisted and stayed with the show for the better. Like, a big thing to me is, Star Trek, when, of course, I'm like, I actually have not watched the original series. I've watched an episode here and there. I've seen several episodes of it. I've never sat down and watched it beginning to end, or even seen more than maybe 5 episodes of it. I started with Next Gen, which is one of my favorite shows ever. And then, we talked about this last time, but it's very, it's naval. It's very naval, right? And the ranks are Navy ranks and all that, because Gene Roddenberry was in the Navy. But Gene Roddenberry also is like a kind of anti-militarist hippie, and which is good, not a bad thing. That's not an insult. And so he made it vaguely Navy, but he took so much of the naval stuff out of it. And so the director, he referred to it as, we're not going to have them flying around space in their pajamas. He designed the uniforms himself because he wanted uniforms that would look like they could actually be naval uniforms. You have different uniforms for the enlisted versus the officers. And you'll notice the enlisted uniforms are like a prototype of the Next Gen uniforms, by the way. He used rank insignia that actually makes sense. And you can see that like on the rank insignia they're wearing. And it's even very militaristic, like Kirk's Admiral insignia looks like an Osprey cross, which is sometimes called like the Iron Cross, but it's different from the Iron Cross. It's the metal that like it's basically looks exactly to me like the French Legion of Honor that they created after World War One, at the end of World War One, that a lot of like our black troops that served integrated into the French army were awarded. It looks extremely like that, almost exactly the same, only gold instead of silver. And they have the boatswain's whistle when they come on board, and the way like Spock has them all standing at attention and then tells them they're dismissed. It's just so much stuff of it. It feels like, oh, this is actually a military.
Yeah. And that's nice. Like,
and that was on purpose. He said he wanted it to be that way.
It needed all the changes it got. It really did.
It did.
Yeah. It made it seem like we're a bunch of professionals. Like, what do we think of, if anything, about the Navy? Like, they're professional. They know what they're doing. They have a chain of command and all that stuff. And so if you're in space, if you're part of a Starfleet, which, if we think about it, is, despite Gene Roddenberry insisting it's not, it's basically a military organization. So
it is.
100%.
It's military and science. It's like if you mixed like the military with like NOAA.
And like if your aircraft carrier was also like had an icebreaker on it or something, I don't know.
Right. If it was like also a science vessel, if you had like a contingent of scientists who work on your aircraft carrier, but also went to the same military academy as the other people on there, by the way. Right. Yeah. And that's really what, you think like, well, again, Next Gen, they're on the flagship of the Federation, but they've got all these civilians on board, but then you have Picard, who's like very opposed to there being civilians on board because he's like, this is a military ship, blah, blah, blah. And so I think, we saw stuff from Wrath of Khan just reverberated through the series in a good way for a long time in a lot of ways. And I think that, like you said, it's good kind of permanent changes.
I mean, this is the movie that, I guess kind of saved it, right? Saved the franchise in a way.
Yeah, it's interesting because it made it actually grossed slightly less at the box office than Motion Picture, but it netted so much more because it had like a fourth the budget of that, but looks better. by the way.
It does.
Right.
And not that, and motion picture actually looks pretty good, especially like the DVD remaster, but this looks better. And I was looking into it, and it's like they contracted with Lucasfilm.
Yeah.
What became Industrial Light and Magic, I don't think it was called that yet.
It was.
But-
I thought
It was, okay, yeah. So the ILM did the effects. I did a lot of the effects, if not all of them. And there's one, I don't know if I'm getting ahead of her.
That's fine.
You're getting at, yeah. But
yeah,
you go ahead.
Well, so the first fully computer generated effect in a movie ever is
Right.
the Genesis effect on the planet,
Yeah.
which was made by ILM, and specifically it was made by the team at ILM that went on to become Pixar.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
And-
cool. I did not know that.
Yeah, and then there's another thing in the movie that was the displays.
Yeah.
All the displays, they were designed by a company, and specifically using the designs of this one engineer who then left that company and started Adobe.
Yeah.
So it's like it's really neat, and like all these like new ideas, new ways of doing things they came up with that just look so much better only 3 years later.
Yeah. And with a smaller budget, like you said.
Yeah, way smaller. It was $12 million.
Yeah, exactly.
Wasn't
That's
it? Did we say 44 million for?
Yes.
Was that what it was?
yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous the amount of money they spent.
And even
Yeah.
adjusted for inflation, that's not a lot. That's
Yeah, and
maybe,
they wanted to the studio was capping it at 11, and they had to talk them into adding an extra million on there.
yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah,
Like, and it made, like, I looked it up, it made $78 million, which is not a lot today, but back then that was a lot of money.
and on a $12 million budget.
Right, exactly.
That's crazy.
And then it came out at a time, 1982 had so many sci-fi movies. It had Blade Runner, it had E.T., it had Tron,
Mhm.
it had The Thing. Like,
and Return of the Jedi is the next year.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it came out at a time where sci-fi there were big budget movies that were, a lot of them were original. So what a time to be a sci-fi fan.
All right. And well, I'm sorry. No, let's just go ahead. What's next?
But just in general, I mean, I just want to talk about with this movie, like the way they do it is just so well done. And
Mhm.
after everything that we had just got done watching, it's kind of surprising how much fun this movie is.
Yeah,
Like we talk about the uniforms, the uniform needed that change. They were awful.
right.
I mean,
look
they
like-
Yeah.
really bad.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think the uniforms were that bad in the previous one, except for their cruise ship uniforms. But the blue uniforms, the non-penis showing blue uniforms, were pretty good. Were fine in the first movie, but yeah, this is way better.
We needed it.
Yeah, but it's funny. The first time I ever saw those uniforms that I can remember is Generations at the beginning.
Oh, right, yeah.
When they're on the Enterprise B.
Yeah.
It just needed it. And like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a small thing, but it in my opinion, it really makes a difference
Mm-hmm.
just to have it here. And then just the fact that like we were talking about how you don't see this long version of, oh, here, look, here's the frickin', it's just, everything is so much
It
faster.
gets to the story.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the story is really good. It's
Yeah.
from something that went through so much writing hell and so many different writers and had to basically be like rewritten by the director. It ended up like a really good, well put together, snappy story that makes sense and flows logically from one scene to the next. You're
Right.
never sitting there bored or wondering what's going on or why are we doing this. It all just fits really well.
Yes. And
Yeah,
that's
and
what makes this movie special.
It's interesting that it's predicated upon, it's based on a TV episode. It's a sequel to
Right.
a TV episode where it was, I think, so 1966, so it's about 15 years. And they mentioned that.
67, yeah. Space
67,
Seed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
they even
wouldn't. Oh,
been
go ahead.
15 years or whatever. So
Yes,
they,
it's actually
crazy, though.
they do
Yeah.
the same. They did 15 years. It's 15 years since that, and it's 15 years in the in the timeline of the show also.
That's cool
Yeah.
that they kept it close to reality.
Yeah, Kirk Shatner didn't want that. Shatner wanted. He's like, oh, we can use makeup and prosthetics to make me look like I'm still young Kirk. And the director's like, no. You're going to be a gracefully aging leading man like Clark Gable or something like that.
it works. It's right. He was right.
It does. It's perfect. And
It
you know
really
what
does
I really respected and liked is they did not have any kind of like romantic thing go on between him and Saavik.
Right.
Because
yeah.
I feel like that would have been the obvious go-to and it would have been terrible because he's clearly so much older than, even though she's Vulcan, so she might not be that young. He's clearly so much older than her that it would have been gross. Whereas him and what's her name, BB, can't remember the actress's name, that Carol,
BB Besh.
Yeah, they look like they could be the same, maybe a few years apart, but about the same age. Based on the timeline of Star Trek, Kirk is 52 in this movie, and she looks like she's probably late 40s, early 50s, and so it fits.
Yeah,
it wouldn't have been good had they went the route that Shatner wanted.
Yeah,
right.
So, yeah.
But also, but yeah, I thought the story was really well done. It's kind of an homage to a couple of, it's kind of a bunch of stuff because, like we said, the director, a lot of he based certain scenes off of 2 different black and white Navy movies.
Oh,
yeah, the enemy. It's like The Enemy Down Below and Run Silent, Run Deep.
Which I do have to.
Oh, go ahead.
Which are good movies. Good movies, by the way.
Yeah, I went and watched clips from them. I didn't watch the whole things, but yeah, they were. It's that Run Silent, Run Deep especially seems really good. It's Clark Gable's last military role, and what I watched of that, it seemed really well done.
Good point. Yeah, it's a submarine movie, and so they're in submarines, it's just like this. You don't have sensors. You just have sonar, and you can't see your enemy. It's basically the battle at the end of the movie.
And you can't use the sonar, especially back then. You can't use the sonar without giving away your position.
Right. Yeah.
And so they have to so it's a real, back then it was a real game of cat and mouse, submarines like hunting each other or even hunting naval surface ships, which is what Enemy Down Below is, a US surface ship versus a Russian submarine or a German submarine. Run Silent, Run Deep is, I think it's 2 submarines fighting, right?
I believe so. It's been a while since I've seen them, but I think
it's where they have the idea of like floating, like silently floating down from above and all that, which is just like perfect. And I like the whole thing of Spock's like, he thinks 2-dimensionally, Captain.
Right.
and
he's right.
Yeah, and it's because if you think about it, he's from the 1990s, right? So Kahn is from the 1990s, and he's a fan of chess. And there's a whole thing in his backstory. It's in the novelization.
Right. Yeah.
Right. But that he's like a big chess person because he's Sikh and the Sikh invented chess. And Kirk and Spock, meanwhile, they're always playing 3-dimensional chess where you have to think about the Z axis. And so that's like they integrated. It's just like so much thought put into this. And it is so good. And there's also things where I was watching, I was like, well, this is stupid. Why are Chekhov and Terrell not all of a sudden not affected by the brain worms? And then it turns out they are. And I'm like, oh, that's good. That was good.
I was wondering same thing.
Got me. I thought I had them, but they got me.
Yeah.
Also, I was thinking, like, are you guys that stupid? Like, he said we had brain worms, and you're like, okay, come along with us. Like, you're not going to check them out. You're not going to see if anything's wrong here.
And Kirk was like talking to Spock in front of them. And I thought, if they're still bad, I bet Kahn is listening in on all this stuff. And that he thought about that too. It's so good. This is smarter than most movies that come out now.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I always say it, but I think that's very true, is that the writing a long time ago was a lot better than writing today. They're not thinking person's movies. They don't think the audience is intelligent enough to get things. But
yeah, well, you were saying, I think in our previous episode about how they, Star Trek, they would take like spec scripts. That was you were saying that, right?
That was,
right. Yeah. And so it's like one good science fiction author coming up with a story from beginning to end. And then it gets, fiddled with, but ultimately it's one vision, and how now it's like a room of writers.
Right.
With the whole time. So yeah, the whole time, and it's not quite the same, or it's one showrunner who has this whole vision for the show,
right? And
you don't get instead these like intro. And I don't know, I thought that was good. I was reading the guy that the story's mostly coming from is he wrote a show called Captain Video and his Video Rangers, and I watched. They have a full episode of it on Wikipedia. And it is rough.
Right.
It's 1954, so it's like television barely exists, and it was live. It's a live sci-fi show.
That's weird.
And they had 30 minutes, but they didn't like have, I guess they didn't have the budget to make a 30-minute show. So what they did was that the studio had bought the rights to a bunch of Westerns, and they just play 10-minute clips of a Western in the middle of it. And I was like scrolling ahead in the episode because I was like, okay, this is rough. I'm just going to scroll to the middle. And all of a sudden it's a Western. I'm like, wait, what the fuck is going on?
Like, where did I
had to go look it up. What is going on? And that's what it is. It's just every episode, this like character on Captain Video would like tune to, here's what our secret agents on Earth are doing. And it was a Western because it's taking place, in a galaxy, in a galaxy far, far away, a long time ago, or I guess, 100 years ago. But anyway, it was a recycled plot from that. I'm sorry, that is Space Seed I'm talking about. Space Seed, the TNG episode that introduces Kahn, was a adaptation of a Captain Video script that didn't get made.
Okay.
The idea of like in the Captain Video episode, they find these like frozen Greek warriors who turn out to be Greek gods and have powers. And he's just like, what if instead of frozen Greek warriors, they were frozen warriors from our near future, and instead of having magical powers, they have genetic superpowers. That is the same idea, though.
That is very much the same idea. I mean, it is cool to bring back a villain from the first show.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I didn't catch this either time I watched this movie, but YouTube told me that like Chekhov wasn't even on the ship at the time because he didn't join the show. But I like how they're like, yeah, we worked it in.
Yeah, well, and so the novelization there's only a handful of tiny plot holes in this show, or not even necessarily plot holes, but things that need to be fleshed out a little bit. And in the novelization, they just say Chekhov was on the Enterprise in season 1, but he was night shift. Because he's just in TOS in season 2, right? He just shows up.
So, yeah.
They don't say, oh, it's our new guy Chekhov. He's just there, right? Yeah. So the novelization of this said that he was actually on the night shift.
Yeah.
I like that idea, though.
And that he was in love with the historian that helps Khan escape and gets exiled with him.
Yeah, that was part of the show. They don't say too much about it. They just say Khan had a wife in the movie.
Right. Yeah.
And that was the ship's historian who went with him on the ship because she fell in love with him.
Betrayed the crew.
Right. His animal magnetism attracted her.
She was so turned on by Ricardo Montalban.
Right. Which is understandable.
Mm-hmm.
I did not watch the old episode. I thought about it, but it just didn't happen.
Well, the only way to watch it legally is Paramount Plus.
I have
and which I don't currently have.
Which is fair.
But I think I'm going to actually do a 1-month sub to Paramount Plus so I can watch the whole series before watch the whole series while skipping some episodes before our next recording. But because I'm like, I want to see the series before I watch any more of the movies. But I did find like YouTube clips of some different scenes, and so I watched a few different scenes from it.
I feel like it's a little rough. I haven't watched it. No, I
mean, Space Seed. Space Seed, I think, is a good episode.
Yeah, Space Seed is good, especially knowing that Ricardo Montalban will show up. So
yeah, though I think he goes a little too heavy in the movie at times. He's doing Shakespeare, but the director told him to. I also watched the whole director commentary for this.
Nice.
I had it on. I had like headphones on and listened to it while I was like doing chores and stuff. And I ended up not listening to like 20 minutes of it because I had to go do something. But he says, yeah, I told him to do King Lear, and Montalban was like self-conscious about his Mexican accent, and he's like, no, like forget that. Like you are King Lear. Trust me. Like you should be doing Shakespeare. People that think you shouldn't because of your Mexican accent are wrong. You're amazing. You're an amazing actor. Be King Lear.
Great job in this though. Like his acting is great.
Yeah, I'd say he's more Ahab than Lear, but yeah.
Yes. There's one scene that really bothered me when I remembered it the last time I saw it, and it still bothers me. That part when they put the yerks in their ears.
Right.
That's what I remember seeing as a kid. That's what I remember.
Right. You don't forget that.
Yeah, that made an impression when I was like 7 years old. Oh my God. It looks so crazy. Like it looks too real.
Yeah, It does. I mean, you can definitely tell they use prosthetics for like close-ups.
They built a giant ear.
Right. Yeah.
They built a giant ear, a giant model of Chekhov's ear to do this, which is crazy. It feels unnecessary, but
and the puppet itself is good. Like it's that 80s kind puppet when he reaches into the tank and he pulls off the little
Yes.
plug from it. And it's made by the same people who did Star Wars. Like
Mhm.
I think Ben Olsen is the puppet guy who did it, and he did Star Wars. So
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's the same crew.
Yeah.
It's a good practical effect. Nowadays it'd be a CGI creature, but thank
Oh,
God.
And it would look, and it
100%.
would look, and you'd watch the movie 3 years later, and it would look like garbage.
Right.
But
I feel like
that's
like a little
practical effects never look bad.
Right.
Practical effects don't like they look the way now that they looked 30 years ago if they're done well. Whereas CGI, the best CGI looks like garbage 5 years later.
That's Blade
Right.
2.
Yeah.
That one is aged like milk. There's a scene
And
in
this-
that movie.
I think the plot of Blade 2 is pretty good, but yes, the CGI stuff is not.
I mean, that scene where they find Khan is great because
Mhm.
it's like a desert planet and all these people are masked and stuff. And Khan reveals himself by taking off his mask, and everyone's so tense. And Chekhov's immediately like, Khan.
Yeah.
And then I like the exposition is good because it's good
Mhm.
writing because it fits in naturally. Because Khan, they have to explain to people who haven't seen the Star Trek show, like who
Right.
Khan is. And he's like,
Yeah.
didn't you ever tell the tale to amuse your captain? The tale of Khan?
hmm
And then he talks about, and it's a great point when Captain Terrell says Admiral Kirk, and he's like, Admiral. Oh. And Khan's like, oh, this guy's gone up in the ranks, and I've been marooned here on this planet.
Yeah, it's interesting too. We were talking about like last week, like Picard would never.
Right.
Picard would never be like, "Oh, you guys took over the ship. All right, I'm gonna maroon you for all
Right.
the rest of your lives on a planet. Though not a desert planet, but
I will
still.
say on the show, he's like, he gets him a choice because he's like,
oh, okay,
he's like, well, because you try to take over the ship, we'll put you into, if you leave to this planet, you can go on your own and we won't try and prosecute you or whatever. And so he goes to this planet willingly.
but the planet was not a desert planet, right? It was
Right.
No,
it was but another planet exploded and threw it out of orbit, according to the science
Right.
of this. And it became a wasteland. I think Khan's big
I think
gripe-
that makes sense. Yeah,
Right. And Khan was mad that no one ever checked back on them.
yeah. You know what it made
And-
me think of is
Right.
the TNG episode where Moriarty takes over the Enterprise.
Yeah.
And they figure out like they trick him and they basically just put him in he thinks that he's escaped the Enterprise, but actually he's in a holodeck program, and they
Right.
put it in like a little cube, and then
Right.
that's it. And I'm like, what happened to that cube? Was it on the ship in Generations when the ship crashed? When the Dura sisters blew it up? Like, is the cube okay? Is it somewhere? Like, is there like an Easter egg in Picard season 3 that you see he's got it on his freaking like bookshelf or something, like a trophy? Like, it is the same kind of thing to me. I was like, oh, I don't know. Like, you just basically put this person in a infinite prison. I mean, I guess they'll age and die, but still.
Yeah. Picard would not have done this. Like, it was a very, I will say in the original Space Seed episode, all the human beings, like Spock is very concerned that like Kirk and McCoy have an admiration for Khan because he was like a historical figure that disappeared. And
Right.
they were like, he was a warlord on Earth, and he was benevolent dictator. Like, there were no massacres and stuff. He just ruled with an iron fist, but his countries were safe, is basically what they're saying.
Oh,
And Spock's,
interesting.
how can you look up to this man? So it's interesting that aspect is not in the movie, but it was in the episode. And they have some admiration for him.
Interesting. Yeah, you see, this movie, well, not the movie so much as the Space Seed episode or Kahn in general has been referenced a bunch in like Next Generation, Deep Space
Right.
Nine. They always throw him out as like another Hitler or a Sung,
Yeah,
you know?
I
Usually-
love that. Yeah.
they do that in this. They do that in this where they say like your name will go up there with Einstein, Newton, and Surak or whatever. They always
Right,
do that.
yeah.
They name 3 things, and one of them's a futuristic one. One of
Right,
them's
right. It's a Star Trek thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like
that.
it though.
But that's
Yeah.
that's why in Deep Space Nine, Julian's parents get in trouble
Right.
for genetically engineering him. Is basically they don't want to repeat
Yeah,
This.
I think
the eugenics.
later-
wars.
that's a good reference in DS9. That's a subtle reference, or more
Mhm.
subtle because it doesn't hinge on having Khan come back as a villain because other shows,
Right.
including other movies, have done it where they bring Khan back and try to remake this, and then Enterprise the whole thing with genetic engineering too as well.
I like that
I don't
episode
know.
that you're talking about though. in
It is
Enterprise.
it is good, but now in Strange New Worlds they have someone who is descendant of Khan on there, I think too. So it's
Ugh.
like
Well,
they
that's
dip
not
into the
surprising.
well. Yeah, they dip into the well a lot. So
The nostalgia well, yeah.
yeah,
No, this was like a great idea. Is take take an old episode that was really good, highly regarded old episode, and make a sequel to it. Use that to make a movie. That's perfect. And it's a tight, like, gosh, I think it's like, is it like 95 minutes? Like it's
this movie is
or an hour and
it's hour 53.
It
Hour
makes
53,
you seem like
yeah.
it seems like 90 minutes.
Yeah, it's just like I was like paused it at one point. I was like, wait, it's more than halfway over?
Yeah.
You never get bored. This movie it clips along.
And that's what I think. Yeah, that's one thing that makes it special. Like it doesn't feel like the first one feels like a 3-hour movie. It's not. It's close, but it feels like a 3-hour movie.
Right.
This doesn't even feel like 2 hours. It just is a fast 2 hours.
Another thing I wanted to bring up, because we talked about Ricardo Montalban and how I think he's really good. He just is maybe going a little too Shakespearean at times.
That's fair. That's fair.
But that's his direction. That's the director's direction. That's not
Right.
him. I thought Kirstie Alley was so good as Saavik. I thought she was so good, and she got criticized, including by Shatner, for showing emotion.
Yeah.
That's on purpose. It's in the script. It's just not ever said in the movie. She's half Romulan.
Yeah, but
It's in the script and the novelization. She's half Romulan, half Vulcan, and so like she is like a young Spock. She is not completely mastered,
Right.
withholding her emotions, like pressing her emotions. And so you see little. It's like 3 times the whole movie. Well, there's probably more, but there's like there's 2 explicit times where she.
Oh yeah.
In the Kobayashi Maru, she says, "Damn."
Yeah.
At one point, and then at the end of the movie, she's crying at Spock's funeral, and that was her crying at Spock's funeral. That was ad-lib by Kirstie Alley.
Yeah.
And that was where Shatner and DeForest Kelley both got kind of angry and told the director, and Shatner said, "Are you going to actually let her do that?" And the director said, "Yeah, it makes sense for her character. She's not supposed to be completely in control of her emotions." Which I don't know. I thought she was really good in this. I am kind of a Kirstie Alley fan in spite of the Scientology.
Right.
I grew up on watching Cheers every night with my mom, pretty much in syndication. And my favorite seasons of Cheers are the ones of her, honestly. So
she was supposed to be in the next movie, but what happens to many women who ask for pay raises? They immediately fired her, which was there.
That's what it was.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Another one.
Come back.
I believe you more than YouTube. So
yeah, and then Kim Cattrall was supposed to play her in the 6th movie.
Right.
And they were like, but she objected. It was like, I want to be the 3rd actress playing the same character. And so they changed the name of the character.
Right. Yeah. It
was written to be her though.
That character would have, I think, probably is best she didn't, because it kind of, she does morally wrong things, but it still would have been interesting to have the same character in that one.
Yeah. I'm glad not, because she was my favorite character in this movie. She was my favorite. I was like, I mean, first of all, it's young Kirstie Alley, who I had a crush on as a kid, and she's beautiful in this. But she's like really, I think she does a really good job of it. They also said that the director said on the commentary that she slept with the Vulcan ears on.
That's
for
good.
The whole time they were making the movie. She slept in the ears so she could stay in character. Which I thought was pretty funny. Yeah.
I mean, I thought she was fun. I mean, I don't like her in this, but when you bring up the Romulan part, that makes more sense because she does show emotion. And since I heard it in the YouTube, but it should be in this movie. That line shouldn't have been cut out.
Oh, right. About her Vulcan heritage. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I agree, because my first thing was like, did she say damn? That doesn't make sense. And then she was acting like kind of, I don't want it. There's a scene where she's like dressed like she just went to the gym. She kind of looks like she's wearing like a karate gi almost.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And and she seems like really flustered around Kirk. Like she has, like maybe she's in awe of him or maybe has a crush on him in a way that I was like, it doesn't really. And so I just like paused. I was like, why does Saavik show emotion in Wrath of Khan? And it came up and I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. Why didn't y'all say that?
Yeah, it doesn't. I don't understand why it's not in the movie.
All you'd have to do is in that hallway scene where Kirk and Spock are walking at Starfleet Academy and they're walking down the hallway and Kirk William Shatner got distracted by the extra vacuuming in the background. And the director said he did like 15 takes and kept telling him to please not look at the guy vacuuming. And he did it every time. And he's just like, oh, whatever. And kept it in, which I think is fine to keep in. Why not? But anyway, you could have just had in that scene him going, so the Saavik, she's interesting. I could have swore I heard her curse at one point, and then have Spock go, yes, she's half Romulan and has still some trouble with controlling her emotions, but she's a fine officer, something like that. And that would all you need.
Yeah, it doesn't. I don't understand why it was cut for. Like, I mean, it seemed. I mean, I can see how some people go, "Oh, it's a stupid thing. It doesn't matter," but it does. Like, respect the source material.
Yeah, well, maybe it wasn't in the original script, and it's just the director changed his mind later. I don't know. It is definitely in the novelization, but the director said so. Maybe it's not in the script. In the director commentary, he said that was always the intent, though.
Yeah.
But he might be, misremembering.
Talking about what he meant, not
Well, and also he might be misremembering what he meant because you kind of tell yourself the story of the past over and over again, and it changed your memories. But
yeah.
But I thought she was good in this. I liked her character. I thought it was a good touch to have the ship be crewed by recruits.
Right. Did your version have the scene where Scotty says that the engineer is his nephew?
Nope.
No.
Okay.
That's another thing that was cut from the theatrical. Yep.
That was, I bought the director's cut, which has just 3 more minutes.
Right.
And one of the scenes is Spock being like, "Oh, that's my sister's boy."
Mm-hmm.
And that explains why he's so heartbroken that he
carries him to the bridge to show,
Right.
like, look what they did to my boy.
That makes sense. I was confused.
I'm not sure why they cut that. It was about a minute-long scene. It's really weird.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird.
Yeah. I mean, do you get that many showings by cutting a minute in theaters? Like, I don't think so.
Yeah, it's strange, but it was in the copy I watched, and it's a very short, but it's an interesting scene because it will set up. Because otherwise, you're like, why is Spock doing this? Does he do this with every crew member? Like, well, no, it's his nephew. So
it was Scotty that did it, right? Not
Scotty did it. Yeah,
it's Scotty.
Yeah, but it confused me. I'm like, why did you bring this guy who just got murdered? Like, bring him to the sick bay. Why are you bringing him here?
Right.
But that makes more sense.
It was a little overly dramatic and bring him to the bridge, even if it is his nephew. But yeah, I think it's just the way they decided. They're like, we want a scene of Scotty being sad about his nephew dying, but we don't need a whole other scene. So let's just have him show up in this scene. They could have just as easily had them in sick bay, and because they do in sick bay. They have. Gosh, there was a scene where somebody
isn't that the nephew or is that someone else?
Yeah, the nephew is they get him on a bed and they say,
it isn't. So they do. Well, then they should have cut out him carrying him to the bridge. Then, yeah, they should have just had when that sick bay scene where he says like, is the order given, sir?
Yeah, and he's the order to warp speed. Yeah,
which I'm not sure what he meant. What that meant.
It's just like it's something you'd say in the Star Trek universe.
It's just like you have my permission to die, basically. You've done your duty. Now kind of thing.
Yeah, something like that.
But yeah, I thought that was really good. I also thought the ex-girlfriend and Kirk's illegitimate son, Kirk's bastard, David.
Yeah, David.
I've heard him mentioned. Gosh, is it in Generations that he talks about it? He talks about it. I don't remember, but I knew.
I won't spoil what happens, but
yeah, I unfortunately saw that. I saw that got spoiled for me.
Okay,
but
he might mention it. There's a photo of him in the Star Trek: The Undiscovered Country, and that is
that's it. That's how because I've seen 6
right
at least once all the way through as an adult, so I actually remember 6 pretty well. Yeah, that's what it was.
Point. It's actually a plot point that is about his son.
Yeah, and they I feel like there's I was gonna say there's a plot point in like season 7 of Next Gen or season 6 of Next Gen where Picard thinks he has a son and it turns out it's a trick. But I felt like there's some like David in that also,
But yeah, wait till you get to the Star Trek Picard where that.
I don't know if I'm gonna. I don't know. I'm not going to.
Give me an excuse if you wanted to. I thought about it.
I watched the first 2 seasons of Star Trek Picard. I will only watch the 3rd season if I'm being made to for a podcast.
Don't worry.
Okay. Well, anyway, I thought the whole thing was good. I did as soon as it was clear that she and him had a history. I'm like, oh well, that's obviously his son. Right. Yeah. And then I remember, and I heard the name David. I'm like, oh yeah, wasn't that his son's name? So yeah.
And thankfully, they don't make it a huge reveal. They don't try to hide it.
They don't do a lot with it.
Yeah,
no, but they do have a scene at the end where he comes in and tells him he's his son. And I was like, I don't know if that was even required. I think it's really clear to the audience, but it might not have been.
Right. Yeah.
It's hard to say.
I guess they just wanted that moment where for sure, and he's like, "I'm proud of you." Like, I guess they just wanted that scene.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's not terrible. It just felt a little unnecessary. I mean, I didn't like that. I did like that scene. I was confused why they had his father in here, or why they gave him a son. That's all.
He's aging.
Yeah, I mean,
it's that.
I guess. Hey,
It's
what happened to
about
his ex-wife that died in the first movie that wasn't in the script or in the theatrical version that we watched?
Right.
But nobody cared about.
yeah. I
Oh,
like the
there-
fact that it was interesting to me that the scientists and Regular One, the space station, were like, we can't let the military get a hold of it because then they'll try to turn it into a weapon. And it's kind of, it deals with like the paranoia of like making the atomic bomb or something, or any scientists, not paranoia, but like the fears of science being co-opted by the military state.
Oh
Which is very
yeah. I mean, very relevant today.
relevant today. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and what Anthropic, is that the name of that?
That's what I was. Yeah. That's
like
a
yesterday.
crazy story.
Yeah. We don't have to get into it, but it's still relevant today. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it was probably at this point we're in the Cold War and we're in the we're the beginning of the Reagan era. So I can absolutely see that being on the minds of some, leftist Hollywood writers, especially.
And also, they make a brief mention when they talk about the Genesis device. They say it's to deal with overpopulation and food shortages, which was very trendy in like the 70s to be the thing. Like,
yes.
It was the fear that like the world would be too populated, there's gonna be massive famine, and it was like best-selling books were written about this, and so that it's interesting.
Green.
Script, yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense. I didn't catch that or realize that part, but that
When you watch, Nicholas Meyer also wrote Star Trek 6, and when you watch Star Trek 6, I noticed like a lot of very relevant commentary to the Cold War. There's like it references events in a Star Trek analogy, but
right.
We'll get to that.
And he directed 6 also, right?
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Yeah, and also 6 is called The Undiscovered Country, which was one of the proposed titles for this.
I think that would have been a mistake for sure, because this
Agreed.
Wrath of Khan is a very like what's going on.
Yeah.
So I think they were right.
It's a much better title. That would be really ambiguous and has nothing to do with the plot.
Right, yeah.
Like a new country, maybe, or like a new world or something, maybe. But like, yeah, but they're originally they're going with that, and then they're like, okay, Revenge of Khan, and then they're like, no, because Revenge of the Jedi comes out next year.
Right.
Because
because that was before it got changed, right?
Right, exactly.
It's a famous story. I think Michael Eisner was the head of Paramount, and he told them they can't do Revenge. They can't do Revenge of Khan because the Star Wars movie is going to be that title.
Yeah, so then they changed it to Wrath of Khan, which is such a good title.
Yeah,
it is, yes.
And it's exactly what it is, because Khan is wrath. He is revenge. He is like, and I want to say like Moby Dick is one of those books that I read in high school and didn't fully appreciate, and I look back on and really appreciate. And looking back on it, and he's quoting Moby Dick in three different scenes in this.
Yeah.
And my opening line, of from Hell's Heart I stab at thee,
Yeah.
And of course I never realized till watching this today, in First Contact, that's what they were going, that was the why they did that. Picard, if his chest had been a cannon, he would have shot his heart upon it. Such a beautiful scene. That's like such a good scene in First Contact. I think it was a reference to this.
Yeah,
I think it was an homage to this, at least.
Yeah, it was.
But yeah, him like quoting Moby Dick makes sense because first of all, he's from the 20th century,
right?
And secondly, he's stuck on this planet with nothing but books.
Yeah,
no technology. And if you look on the shelf behind him when they're in his place, he's got Moby Dick on the bookshelf.
Right. Yeah.
He's got Moby Dick and he's got Paradise Lost. And which again,
better to reign in hell than serve in heaven.
Exactly, which he says that in Space Seed, doesn't he?
I think so, yeah.
When he like makes the choice of
to go with
yeah.
It's something it is in there. I forget what exactly, but yeah.
The context, yeah. But yeah, I like his because sometimes it's a little silly, but I'm like, well, also he's kind of maybe going a little crazy.
I mean, yes, he's been on that planet for 15 years. So
and what 70% of it, 80% of his people died.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And he's supposed to be this leader, and he basically caused his people to die, including his wife that he had fallen in love with. And yeah, so maybe it's okay. But I love where he's like, sir, we could get away. We've got a ship. You don't have to go after him. He's like, he taxes me. He tasked me. He taxed me, and I must have him. Which is again, that's a Moby Dick quote. Yeah. And
then the great, I'll chase him round perdition's flame, which is in Moby Dick, but it has space. Now it has space terms in it. So
around the moons of Erebus, around perdition's flame. Yeah.
Yeah. I think in the original it's like I'll chase him around Cape Horn or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. I'll chase him around the Horn of Africa. I'll chase him. I'll chase him to the very ends of the earth, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I actually, as much as I was like, maybe this is a little much, I thought it was really also really cool. I like rewound a couple of those scenes because he gives those lines so well. Like I want to see Ricardo Montalban play Ahab now.
Yeah. And there's so many great scenes with him. I think the one where the ships are coming slow, the Reliant and the Enterprise are slowly coming to each other, and they're like, Kirk's like, this is damn peculiar, and Kahn is so great because he's doing like, oh, we're one big happy fleet.
Yeah, and
like,
I love
that
Saavik is like Starfleet regulations, and I think she's about to say that we should have our shields up.
Yeah.
And Kirk ignores her. Like Spock shoots her down, Kirk ignores her, and then people die because of it.
Right.
And I thought, and I was like, that's pretty cool, actually. And then later he's like, you quote regulations at me all you want. Like, you're right.
Yeah. Also, that's what he meant by that when he says that line then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Cause they're approaching and she's like, Starfleet regulation, blah, 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 says when two ships are approaching and there's no means of communication, and Spock gets onto her, which he should, because that's insubordination to like quote the rule book at your commanding officer. But in this case, it would have saved lives if Kirk had listened to her.
Kirk's not a good listener though.
Yeah. But he learns, he grows over the course of the movie, I would say.
Yeah. There's one scene that I want to ask about. Well, there's two. One, I was thinking like the same thing you're mentioning, the amount of people that die on this ship from their little fuck ups, like, and they make sure you see all these dead soldiers and people. Like, there's a scene that bothers me in every movie I've seen it in. Whenever you have people where the ship is like, for example, those are two, and I don't like this in any movie, but like in this, when you start seeing the bulkheads closing and there's people on the other side of the bulkhead, like, they're fucked. And it always bothers me in a movie. I'm like, I don't like this.
Yeah, well,
it's realistic though.
I know it is.
That is shut off because of the I guess I was like, is it supposed to be vacuum or is it radiation? Is why they're doing it.
I don't know.
It's radiation. It's because that's what Spock dies by.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, so
that's
it's radiation.
Different. Yeah, in that last part.
Yeah, I know.
It might be from the same.
It's a trope of Mike. What you're saying is a trope of submarine movies. I don't know if it happens. It probably happens in like Run Silent, Run Deep. But I think of the movie Crimson Tide, where there's like a hatch. There's a submarine that's sinking, and there's a hatch needs to be closed. So there are people in there, and they're like, you have to close the hatch right now. I think it happens on Voyager too at one point.
Oh yeah. I mean, it happens. It happens in. Gosh, does it happen in Star Trek Generations or no?
I don't think. I think everybody gets.
I think it's Voyager. Yeah, it's Voyager.
Yeah.
But that's like, I mean, you do have to do that. Like, you have to close it.
I get it.
It's what Spock said: the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, or the one.
Yeah. Oh, I quote that a lot of times. I have in real life, and I actually try to follow that in certain aspects. I have before.
Yeah. Many people don't.
The foreshadowing, by the way,
in
this movie is so good. I knew the ending. I've seen the ending before, and it's like they make real clear the torpedo tube, and how what the torpedo looks like and all that. Which, the director's like, yeah, realistically, they probably would just have like a magazine of torpedoes that would automatically load. But he's like, I wanted it to look like those old Navy movies. I wanted you to see the sailors loading the torpedoes. But then it's like, oh, the movie ends with them in that same room with, Spock in it. And then there's that where Spock says that about the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, or the one. Yeah. He like very pointedly says, or the one,
Yeah.
It's a good scene.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that scene so much. I love quoting that scene to people.
Yeah.
So what was he doing with the warp engine? I didn't understand that. Like, how was he saving
You mean at the end?
Yes.
I think that they needed to get warp power, but they needed to adjust something in that room where the reactor was like just blowing radiation into the room. And so he had to not only go in the room where the radiation was dangerously high, but actually open up the reactor and just have a jet stream of radiation blowing in his face while he reached inside and adjusted whatever needed to be adjusted.
Okay, so that scene always confused me. I was like, what exactly is he doing in there to make it work?
I'm sure they could explain it. Maybe the book does, but from an audience perspective, it's just like Spock needs to do something really dangerous, or else they're going to die. And he's the only way they could save the ship is by Spock doing this. And it's like he does something with energy or with the reactor, but they don't go into the technobabble explanation of it.
I won the technobabble.
I'm sure you could read the novel and then I'll tell you, I'm sure.
Okay. It bothered me.
It's unexplained. Yeah.
I want to know.
Yeah, the internet says he was repairing a plasma conduit.
I'll take it.
Yeah, there you go. But he knew, like, it's interesting, like, he gets up from this chair on the bridge. Like, Spock hears that they're in trouble. He just gets up without a word, just goes away. He's like, he knows exactly what to do, and he's made the calculation in his head.
Which is really cool. No matter
Yeah.
how you look at it, that is a very cool thing.
Yeah.
And I think people knew Spock was. I know the rumor was that Spock was going to die in this movie because Leonard Nimoy was kind of done. I think.
Right.
Well, and they also thought this might be the last Star Trek movie because they're like, if this doesn't do really well, this is probably it. And yeah, but Leonard Nimoy allegedly when he saw the final cut of the film, he's like, oh, I guess I'm going to be coming back probably.
I feel like
he said, I think Paramount's going to be calling me in a few months or something like that.
yeah, he was famously done with it, like you said. And I think there were rumors that Spock would die for the beginning. And that's why they put the scene of Spock dying at the very beginning in the simulation. Because they're like, we'll throw them off by having him. And then at one point, Kirk says, aren't you dead? which is a reference to the rumor, too.
That's funny.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's a funny moment, too, though.
Yeah. And it's meant to be like, if you went into the movie with those rumors in mind, you'd say, oh, that's Spock dying. Spock's not going to die because he already died and it was fake.
So
Well,
is this the first appearance of Kobayashi Maru? Or was it in the regular series mentioned?
I don't think it was in the original series. I think this is the first mention.
Okay, because it's one of those things that's like, it's talked about so much in Star Trek fandom that when I watch this, I'm like, I can't remember when it happened. Like, was it here the first time? Do I remember? Like, and that was something that I was thinking about while watching this movie.
I think it was. Oh, yeah. I just looked it up. It was mentioned for the film 1980.
Okay.
Yeah, I just looked it up also.
Yeah. I didn't know for sure, but yes. It's not part of Star Trek lore, but it comes from this movie. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense because I'm like, everybody knows the Kobayashi Maru. You can't win it. Like, why are you confused? And I'm like, yeah, because I'm in 2026 watching a 1982 movie. So, okay.
Right.
Makes a little more sense now. Thank you.
Yeah. And I was going to say about them killing Spock at the end, but then showing his little, sunglasses case there at the end on the planet. I'm referencing Seinfeld. That's what they refer to it. It's just when they shoot the Spock in that sunglasses case. That's how George refers to it. They're kind of doing the same thing they did with Han Solo freezing in carbonite at the end of Empire Strikes Back.
All fair.
Because, Harrison Ford famously did not want to come back for Return of the Jedi. And so they're creating a thing where we're going to try to get him back. But if we don't, then that's fine because we got rid of him.
Right.
Yeah.
And they also they have a very curious thing, which I don't explain, is where Spock nerve pinches McCoy and then like mind melds with him and says, remember.
Right.
And then they don't explain what that is. But again, if you were a nerd in 1982, you'd be like speculating about, well, what does that mean? He has to be coming back because he did that thing with McCoy.
Yeah. My thought was knowing that, the next movie is called The Search for Spock and that he comes back. And I was like, oh, I bet he's making sure that Bones will remember that the Genesis device creates life from death. And so that Bones will make sure to tell everyone, hey, we need to bury him on this planet or something. I don't know. I think that would be a little convoluted.
Well, you see what they say in the third movie because they do kind of talk about it, but I won't spoil anything.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, getting ahead of myself. I was gonna say another thing, just random stuff we liked. I like the design of the Miranda class ship. What is it called? The Reliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a model of that when I was in high school that I bought. I bought just like a big one, like 2 feet long that I built. Cool. I built it and then I don't know what happened to it. It is gone. But I always thought that was a really cool design for a ship. But I read that they showed it to they showed a sketch of it to the producer, but he was looking at it upside down. And he was like, oh, yeah, I love this. And they're like, oh, okay, well, yeah, we'll just make it be upside down then. And that's why the Reliance nacelles are underneath it instead of above it.
Yeah, I also heard, and maybe that's true too, but I also heard they wanted to make it immediately clear which ship was which, so they didn't want it to look like.
It was the it was the director or the producer that was the original script called for it to be a Constitution class like the Enterprise. And it's like, that's going to be confusing for people. Yeah. And it would have been very confusing.
It would be, yeah. So they turn it upside down, and now you instantly know, like the ship that's right side up is the Enterprise, and the upside down ship is the Reliant. So
yeah,
It's like when you have two actors playing the same character in like it does on Star Trek. You give them one person a red uniform and one person a yellow uniform. If
Right.
you have like
Exactly.
clone or something, yeah.
When you need I mean, that's why the whole red shirt thing in the first place is because they needed to make sure you're clear who it is. Speaking of the colors, also, I realized their uniforms do have color for their different fields. It's the turtleneck they're wearing. And
okay.
In this one, engineering is gold, like in Next Generation.
That's cool.
Which is interesting because the reason it's gold in Next Generation is because Patrick Stewart looked washed out in gold, so they switched engineering and command. So it's just weird that in this movie, 5 years earlier, they also switched it. But then they were going to switch it back for Next Gen and then decided not to. So I don't know. But I thought that was interesting. Yeah.
I'm learning new things about this movie.
Yeah, that or it's possible. Possible gold was going to be engineering and command in Next Gen, but in this one, command is white, like white turtleneck.
Okay, I didn't catch that.
Interesting.
No, and security's black. I didn't catch that. I went on a deep dive on the uniforms and was reading like on like a website. It was some website that's like a cosplay website where they like have gone through and like meticulously done all the costume stuff because I was super interested in the costumes. And how the enlisted jumpsuits and they said, yep, the enlisted jumpsuits were direct inspiration for the uniforms in Next Gen.
So one part I'm curious about when he yells, "Kahn!" Like, was he doing? Because I remember thinking about that before I watched the movie. Like, yeah, he's upset because he just got abandoned on this dead planet, but in reality, it was all part of his plan. And so that was all fake, right? Just to put on a show. I'm assuming now.
Yeah, that's a good question.
That's how I take it. I didn't now. Think about that. That's not how I took it back then.
I think it's hard to say because in the moment you don't know that plot wise. So you're like, oh, he must be angry. But yeah, is he may be just really annoyed. I mean, he is annoyed at Kahn, who's just murdered all these people.
I mean, that is a fair state. Yeah, I mean, that's fair, and it's fair to be upset. It's just hard. When I was watching it this time, I was like, it felt because he's like, oh yeah, we already have a whole plan, 2 hours. Oh, hey, Spock. All right, get us. Like,
I mean, it could be a fake
I was just wondering.
But I never thought about that actually because I kind of swept in at the moment. And that's such a parodied moment that I
It is.
have to think about it.
So
there's something that dawned on me today.
There's a discussion in the fan theories subreddit about this, where people brought up an interesting fan theory that is probably not correct, which is that it is that over the top specifically because he's acting. And they said if you notice, he's like immediately after that he seems fine. I don't know, but
I mean, it's hard to say because it's Shatner.
It's really hard to say. Yeah, it feels like one of those, post facto things, but still ex post facto fan theories. But I think it works.
Could be.
It does work.
I don't think it's true, but I think it works.
I mean, but of course he didn't expect to be like a couple seconds before he was almost murdered by Captain Tyrell. So
I know that, man. He came so close.
Yeah, so he's pissed off. He didn't expect that to happen, so he is pissed.
Yeah, and is it? You think there'd be protocol? Hey, we just found these two guys. They just betrayed an entire space station. Yeah, come on board. Everything's fine, right?
They didn't know that. They just know like he was under mind control, and I guess from their perspective, they were like, oh, maybe it wore off a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, they actually don't know that the captain and that Tyrell and Chekhov helped them at all until Chekhov tells them.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. Just to me, it felt like you just picked up these two guys. Like maybe we should be a little bit more cautious.
Yeah, I mean, I think the assumption would be that I think the assumption for most people would just be, oh, they spared you so you could tell so that you could tell us what happened. Or whatever. But I think in like real life, the military would like quarantine them and interrogate them, right?
This was an emergency situation, and plus they were stuffed in a crate. So
exactly. Yeah, they pulled him out. Yeah, they pulled him out of the crate, and Chekhov is traumatized, and also he's, Kirk's former crewman.
Yeah.
Was Chekhov supposed to be the commander of the Reliant, like the first officer?
I think. Did they say he was a science officer?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't remember.
I think maybe he says Commander Chekhov at some point.
You bring up a good question. I don't remember what they. I think they do say Commander Chekhov. So yeah, he probably has second command then.
Yeah, he is.
Okay.
Yeah, according to Memory Alpha, he's been promoted to commander and is the first officer of the Reliant.
Cool.
Okay.
Well, one thing I noticed that I wanted to bring up is that I think the music in this one is really great. The theme is, I think I like this theme the most out of all the Star Trek themes, even more than like the TNG theme. the movie themes, I should say. This is like James Horner was a new composer, but he went on to do lots of many things, including Titanic and Aliens.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Land Before Time. If you listen to this, I do hear a lot of aliens in it because there's like a bunch of like little eerie tones that are definitely present in Aliens as well. Yeah. So good on them for getting him.
I know, didn't he get too the YouTube I was watching said he got too expensive later on for the movie, so they couldn't.
Yeah, it was Jerry Goldsmith was too expensive, so they hired him, and then later James Horner became more expensive, so they got Jerry Goldsmith back later. It's very
funny.
Yeah.
That's funny.
It's very weird to think about these types of movies needing budgets because nowadays they make a Star Trek movie. When they did, and they made there's definitely every money was put into it. Like if you watch these movies from the 80s, you get the sense that having unlimited budgets was not a thing like today. Like now made movies are $400 million.
And genre movies, they were only starting to make crazy money. We talked about this the last time, prior to 1979, had any big genre movie, like sci-fi or fantasy movie, ever done really well?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Maybe prior to Star Wars. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Prior to 77. Sorry, prior to 77. I don't know that. I mean, I don't know of any.
Maybe 2001 is the biggest.
Yeah, definitely.
But not many.
That's a Stanley Kubrick film.
Right.
Yeah.
Stanley Kubrick at the height of his power.
Right. I think, and it's interesting. You look at the box office. They kind of looked at E.T. was the number one film this year in 1982, but there were other ones like On Golden Pond.
Yeah,
made $100 and some million, which today is equivalent to $500 million or whatever. And it's a movie about old people on a lake. So it's not big budget special effects movie by any stretch.
Yeah. Tootsie was number 2.
Yeah, Tootsie is again, it's a comedy. It has no
comedy. Yeah. An Officer and a Gentleman.
Right. Again, most of the movies, this movie was up there in the top 10, I believe, but it was not.
It's number 6, and it's that and Poltergeist are the only two what you call and ET.
Yeah.
Are the only what you call genre films. The others, it's you got Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, which I'm surprised that was number 9. Wow,
that's crazy.
48 Hours, Porky's,
jeez,
Annie. Annie was number 10.
What was Annie?
Annie.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean that's insane. Just 40 years ago, the box office was totally different. Nowadays, you'd get I don't know. I don't even know what happened last year. I assume some Marvel thing was that top grossing movie or whatever.
I mean, you would hope it was Sinners, but no, probably wasn't.
It's all sequels. It's all sequels or remakes are the only things that make money.
It was probably that horrible Red Hulk Marvel film.
That movie was not good.
I know.
Brave New World. I saw it in theaters with my son. I was excited. I was not that excited anymore.
Or maybe Thunderbolts, which was
that's a good movie. No, that movie did not make money.
Relatively good. No, you know what? Well, so there is Neja, which I don't know what it's called in America, but that's in America was number 1. Zootopia 2 was number 2. Avatar Fire and Ash number 3. And just going down to see, is there any F1 number 9 is the only non-cartoon, non-video game, non-science fiction movie.
Yeah.
In the top 10.
And even that one has about a lot of special effects and stuff. It's definitely
it's a super expensive movie made by Warner Brothers and Apple, who have infinite money.
Right.
Warner Brothers doesn't, but Apple does, yes.
So
yeah, right.
It's just bizarre to me. There was a time when you had a limited thing and you have to work to make it work with the money you had. And I think it looks great. That the Battle of the Mutara Nebula is great.
Yes, it looks so
well
good.
Done.
Looks so good.
It's just no music in some scenes. It's just silence. It's just you hear lightning in space. It could be a plasma storm or something. Whatever. It's atmospheric, Right.
Well, it creates that because it's like you said, submarine, and it creates that the depth of water. It looks like water, like they're in water almost.
Right. Mm-hmm. If they were just in space, it wouldn't beat the same thing. It wouldn't look as good.
Yeah. According to IMDb, it's the first time in Star Trek that they actually take advantage of the fact that they're in 3-dimensional space.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. That doesn't really happen in the original series at all. So
no, I mean they barely do it in the newer shows.
Right. Everything's very late.
Newer being Next Gen and DS9.
Right.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the other newer ones.
No, I don't know.
You're we're not talking about those here.
I just watched a DS9 episode, I think, where they said there's no up in space or something. They mentioned it, but they didn't really. It wasn't a big plot point.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I do like, man, this movie just felt really good. Like last night I didn't mean to watch it all, and I watched an hour of it just laying in bed when I was supposed to be going to sleep because I didn't have to get up today. I didn't work today, but I just wanted to finish it. It was just that good.
Yeah.
And Star Trek Motion Picture, I had to force myself to put that movie on. Force. I did not want to watch that movie at all.
Well, thankfully,
I didn't think it was that bad, but I know what you're saying.
I was just bored. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but it just was like, it didn't hold my attention where this one was entertaining the whole way through. Even though I don't really care for Kirk. Like, he's not my favorite captain, by far. Yeah.
Oh, and
I my second favorite captain.
I want to amend, I had some misinformation there. I was looking at world gross. U.S. gross, Sinners did actually do really good. It got number 7.
Oh, good.
But there's literally, it's Sinners, and then F1 is number 14. In domestic. Oh, and Mission
Impossible, by the way.
If we count Mission Impossible as not being a science fiction, then it's number 12. But I would call Mission Impossible science fiction adjacent.
Right.
But yeah. But anyway, yeah, it's all cartoons and cartoons and sci-fi.
Yeah.
And sequels and remakes.
Yeah, that's what it is. Original movies.
It's just only Sinners.
Right.
Sinners and Weapons are the only ones that Sinners, Weapons, and F1 are the only ones that broke the top 20 that weren't one of those things.
I mean, F1's not a sequel, but it's based on an existing property, sort of. Well, real thing based on.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like,
yeah, it's not
the other stuff is like Mufasa, the Lion King, and the quote unquote live action Lilo and Stitch. And,
quote unquote, I like that.
Yeah, and then horror, and then well, and I'm sorry, The Conjuring: Last Rites. But those are if we're counting horror, then man, it's just there's definitely not any comedies.
Right, an adult comedy like making all this money would be unheard of these days.
I'm just scrolling and I'm like, were there any adult comedies last year? The Naked Gun, number 39. There you go, which is a remake,
right?
A sequel.
Yeah, you're all right though.
God, Downton Abbey, number 48. There you go. That's sort of an adult. Well, it's not a comedy, but
they used to let R-rated movies make money too, and now they don't. So I think maybe Sinners is rated R, but
Sinners and Weapons, but the rest of the stuff up there is not. No.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, sorry. I know I'm getting us off topic. I just like we talked about last time.
Well, so
Peter and I both are big.
I say every Star Trek movie, we look at the box office and talk about it. And then we can do the same thing next time. Be like, oh, you believe it.
Yeah. Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised how that, I was surprised to find out this movie was almost the death of Star Trek. Like they thought it was going to be done and then it just worked out. So.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that people have complaints about the next time Kahn shows up in a Star Trek movie. I look forward to when we get there next year. I do look forward to that.
It will be a very interesting discussion.
It'll be an interesting discussion because I detest that movie.
I've only saw it once in theaters, and I remember thinking it was amazing when I saw it in theaters. But that was a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. So
I saw the 2009 one in the theater and loved it, and then I went back and watched it a year later. I was like, oh no, this is bad. And then I still went and saw the second one in the theater, and I was like, all right, no, I'm done.
I saw all three.
We'll talk about it when we get there, but they did the whole thing where, he's not playing Kahn. He's just Benedict Cumberbatch is just some guy. And they did that a lot in the 2000s where they were like, it's not the villain you think, it's somebody else.
And then it clearly is.
Right.
Clearly freaking is the whole movie. And then it is. And then it turns out, yes, it is.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
The Genesis device is also a really cool idea that they can bring life to the planet. I really like that. I mean, the idea that it could be a weapon because you just like, we don't like these people. We're just gonna send it on their planet. Like, that's fair. Militaries would do that.
Yes.
100%. Yeah,
our military would do that, for example. So
some militaries more than others would, do that. But it's a very sci-fi premise, which is good. Like it is a movie about revenge, but it has that element in it, other than them being in spaceships, to be like, this is like the MacGuffin, basically, of the movie. If you know the term MacGuffin,
Yeah, I liked it. I had no issue with this movie. Okay, so there are another part that bothers me in this film. Oh, okay. Trying to think. There's another part that bothered me, but I think maybe I already mentioned it. I mean, these are nitpick issues, so they're not important. Yeah. No. Okay. No, I don't know what I was gonna say. I don't think I already mentioned the parts that bothered me and my complaints. So yeah, I have no issues. It's just a really fun movie. More fun than than you would expect. And that's great.
Yeah.
Anything else to say about this movie?
I think we can probably move on.
Okay.
To the next segment.
Let's go to Shelf Stacker Box. And Peter, why don't you lead us in?
Definitely put it on your shelf. I rewatch this movie every couple years, maybe every 10 years. I rewatch it, and I think it's every time I notice something new, every time I get swept in by the story. Like we said, it's almost 2 hours, but it doesn't feel like that. It feels much quicker, and I think that's a sign of a tightly written movie and a very well constructed movie. So
yes,
I love it. It may be the best Star Trek movie. After this rewatch, I will rank them all and see. But it may be my Star Trek movie.
You sure it won't be Nemesis at the top?
Unlikely.
And Kerry.
Oh, yeah, shelf for sure. This was amazing. This was so good.
I'm going to put this on the shelf also. I had a really good time rewatching this movie. Better time than I expected because I had no memory of this movie. And all I remembered is I wasn't like super fond of it. I remember liking 3 more than this one, but I can't even tell you what 3's about other than there's Klingons in it. That's all I remember about 3.
The title is Search for Spock, so.
Yes, I know that part. I remember that too, but there wasn't much that I remember about the movie that wasn't in the title.
That is the plot of the movie. They're searching for Spock. But yes, never mind.
Why would you put that in your title? But I do have one random question. So early in the movie, the Kobayashi Maru, they talk about the neutral zone, and I was thinking Romulans, and it turned out to be Klingons. So it was essentially they had a neutral zone too with the Klingons then? I didn't remember.
I looked it up. I looked it up, and that the system that they mentioned was originally a Romulan system in the show, because the system that they said, like the Hydra system, that was mentioned in the show as a Romulan system. I assume that there was a war between the Romulans and the Klingons at some point, and that the territory changed hands. So there being a neutral zone is not unusual, because I probably would have established one with the Klingons. Okay,
that's just something I was just thinking. It was a random thing. It's just that, like, I'm so used to Next Gen and on, where the neutral zone is always Romulans, because Klingons are their friends now, sort of.
Right, yeah.
Mostly. Okay, that was it. I just wasn't sure about that. I wanted to bring it up.
I think it's more along the lines of, it could be something where the director is just writing things down. He doesn't really have love for the series per se, so he may have...
Right.
Which is true.
He may have just transposed something that he half heard or something, so... Yes. I think this is the only Star Trek movie without Klingons. Like, they're in it, but you don't see them.
Yeah, in fact, those 3 Klingon birds of prey they show were just they just reused the footage from the 3 that get destroyed by Viger at the beginning of Star Trek The Motion Picture.
I was going to say, we upset people, by the way, with that episode.
Did we?
Because, yeah, in a good way, because people thought that the Viger was the Voyager.
Oh, yes, I saw that.
And not a fictional Voyager. And then when we showed them it was a fictional Voyager, and people were sad to know that the movie was that dumb. So that might make you feel good to know that you broke a few hearts.
I do feel good, because, I don't know.
Well, you showed them the truth.
It was a fact. There were only 2 Voyagers, not 6. So
yeah.
And that was one thing I remember when I first saw the movie. I thought, okay, that's cool. They took the real Voyager, and then you find out, no, it's a fake Voyager. When we could have just used a real Voyager and changed the
Right. Yeah.
Simple thing, but I was in the same boat. So it was just funny to me because there were multiple people that were like, "What? I always thought it was the real one."
Yeah.
So
we're opening eyes. I'm glad to see this show has some impact. We can ruin people's childhoods. One movie at a time.
And then at some point, well, hopefully next month, you will hear us next month talk about The Search for Spock, which I'm excited for.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one in a while either.
That one I don't think I've ever seen anything of.
Well, it'll be a very interesting episode then, because I would imagine it's going to have a lot of there's going to be some polarization. I'll try and say that, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I remember really liking it. That's all I remember, but I only saw it the one time when I was trying to get through these movies to get to the Next Gen movies. Was really all my concern was.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
So, and I remember loving First Contact. That's the only one I remember being like, this fucking movie is amazing.
That's valid, though. That is perfectly valid, because that is amazing.
First Contact, I go back and rewatch like once a year, pretty much. I still love that one, even though I have some issues with it. I actually just love that movie.
Me too.
I am excited as we continue our journey into space, the final frontier. And I guess we should go to plugs then. Kerry, where can we find you at?
Hey, I'm Karuseta, Kerooseta on Twitch and YouTube. You can watch me play video games mostly, occasionally modify or repair video game consoles, but mostly just stream whenever I'm playing, usually some Souls game.
All right. And your son's still doing YouTube?
No, he's stopped. He got tired of the grind.
I get it.
So I don't think I think he still like will randomly just stream whatever he's like doing, playing, but he stopped the art channel. Yeah. So thank you though for all the plugs.
Of course, always. I give anyone props for doing that. And Peter.
You can find my books online. I wrote a trilogy of books. The first one is called The Fifth Civilization. There was some Star Trek influence to the whole series, I will say that. And there are characters who you feel the wrath of in those books too. So The Fifth Civilization's out there. Give it a whirl. You'll have a good time.
You will.
Guarantee.
As I said before, and I'll say again, I can vouch for the first book, which I found again, by the way, on the floor.
Agreed. Yeah, I see the Star Trek. Yeah, the Kanga gave me some like not in a ripping off way, just in some good clean on vibes.
Thank you.
The Kanga, the ones in the first book, those are like the reptile guys.
They're in all
three of them. They're kangaroo people.
Oh,
yeah,
I don't remember the Kanga, or maybe I thought the reptile people were actually kangaroos. I can't remember now.
You know what? You don't have pictures in the book, so you can just imagine them. But
I remember people hunting the guy in the first book. I remember that. Were those the Kanga?
Yeah, they were hunting. Yeah, they were hunting the main.
Okay, in my head, they looked like Rex from Mass Effect for some reason.
Well,
in my head, they looked like the guys from Warriors of Virtue.
I will welcome
what the author was going for more than what I thought.
But better, yeah, but better.
Yeah, it's not quite a Jim Henson production, but it's a little bit. Just imagine them better.
Yeah.
Hey, it's in everyone's head, so they can see it however they want. That's the beauty of books.
Exactly, beauty of books.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I should go to my plugs. If you enjoyed this episode, you can hear our other Star Trek episode. Unfortunately, only one so far, but depending on when you find this, there'll be a lot more for you to listen to. Depending on what year it is. So check that out. And you can find everything we do on Podbean. We have over 900 episodes of this podcast, movies, TV shows, comics, video games, all sorts of content. If you want to support the show, we do have a Patreon. So a little dog vote in our Patreon poll. We have 1 to 2 polls a month. Currently, should be 2 polls a month for this month again. So great way to support the show. Please do that. And if you donate $10 or more, I will plug your podcast or YouTube every episode I make that month, and it never goes away. So people listen to old episodes all the time. You can see the numbers. I don't hide them. Like these lovely people, Phoebe Stanton, the Let's Play Princess, on YouTube and Twitch, and her own podcast, Nerds Broadcast. And check out Zach's podcast, absolutely the best podcast of work in progress. He talks about the MCU movies, and they are currently doing the Alien Predator franchise. So check out both of those. And also want to give a shout out to A Gamer Looks at 40 and Bill Tucker's new podcast, Carrying My Cross. So check that out. And want to shout out my awesome intro and outro crew, Helena at Hell Hasrick. Follow her on TikTok and Instagram. And make sure you join our Discord. If you want to be on the show, you want to suggest things for the show, join the Discord. We're always happy to have new people join us and chat with us, lurk, make the number go up. I'm happy no matter what. And please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, YouTube, audio only, and rate and review wherever you get your podcast. I think that's everything I need to say. So we will see you guys all next time. Bye, everybody.